Hey everyone, last week I was made redundant, and that might sound a bit of a weird thing to say with a big grin on my face. It was something that I was really aiming towards. Anyone that's followed me for a little while will know that I worked in a big corporate whilst also building up this business, and eventually the aim was always to go into my business and do that full time. So now I have a chance to do that. However, although it is something that I really wanted, of course it's a really scary time. I've worked for this company for 37 years, would you believe, Lloyds Banking Group, as a coach. And now I will, as from April, I will have no regular salary and I will be making my money myself. So I just thought this might be a useful thing to talk through how I'm using basically what I teach to help me in this time, and to make my thoughts be much more positive around this whole thing. So first of all, I just want to say I haven't got this solved, I haven't got it sorted, I'm not perfect at this. This is very much what one of my old tutors used to call teaching from the middle of the mess. So I'm still in the mess, but I'm just sharing how my techniques and things that I've learned over the years that I also use with my clients are really helping me through this experience. So first thing obviously is the head, and our brain's role is to keep us safe. So my brain is constantly sharing with me ideas, thoughts, suggestions of things that might be a risk to me. So things like, you're not going to have a salary anymore, you're going to have to make this money yourself, what if you can't earn this money, you're not going to be able to pay the bills. This can be a constant cycle going through your head, and is going through my head. And we just have to be aware that if we actually pick up those thoughts and we start to engage with them and tell further stories around them, then that's when those thoughts become life. Basically, those thoughts become like our life, and we give those thoughts energy and they become our reality. So by giving the thoughts energy, that becomes what we're aiming towards. This redundancy that's happened to me for the last year, I've been chanting, people may know I chant mantras, so I've been chanting the Shiva mantra a lot, Shiva the destroyer, the change, bringing the change into my life, making the space for this to happen. So this is what's now manifested, this has now become my reality. I've been offered the chance to take a redundancy and go and do my own role, go and do my own job. So as you can see, if you start to pick up the thoughts of, or if I started to pick up the thoughts of the negative thoughts, I'm not going to make this work, I'm not going to make enough money, that becomes where I'm heading towards. So first thing is to acknowledge that these thoughts are perfectly normal, not to beat ourselves up when we have these thoughts, but to allow the thoughts to come, but not to engage. So I almost look at them like a bird flying past in the sky, and it's just like, oh, thought, and then you just engage quickly with that thought, see what thought it is, what type of thought, and if it's not a thought that moves you towards where you want to be in your future, then you let that thought pass. You just say, thank you, brain, for bringing that to my attention. So, for example, if the thought were, I'm not going to make enough money, I would go, okay, thank you for that thought. However, I do have a business plan. I know how much I have to earn. I know how I'm going to do that. I know how I'm going to get to that income total. So thank you for that thought, but that's taken care of. And then what I actually focus my energy on is the things that are going to move me to where I want to be, to make the money that I need to make to pay my bills. So that's where I focus my energy. That then becomes my reality. The other thing that is coming up a lot for me, and when you're very anxious, this can be like the prevailing feeling, is a feeling of fear. So it's like this gut churning thing, this sort of almost, and it can almost make you frozen, and it can almost like you can't take any action because you're so fearful, you're frightened to do anything. So the way that I'm going through fear, so the first thing I talked to you about was more around the head thing. The way I'm getting through fear, which is very much a bodily sensation, is to do some practices to release that stored fearful energy from my body. So things like calming breath work, where we inhale for 6 through the nose, we exhale for 6 out of the nose. Humming bee breath, or Brahmari breath as it's known, which is an inhale through the nose and an exhale with a hum. This breath has two purposes really, or two ways that it works. The first is you can see from what I did there's a very long exhale. When we extend the exhale over the inhale, what we're doing is shifting to our parasympathetic rest and digest state. So that's the first thing. The humming noise is making a vibrating at the back of our neck, which is where the vagus nerve, the vagus nerve is the nerve that runs directly to our parasympathetic state, or is a direct highway to our parasympathetic. So we're stimulating that vagus nerve and bringing us more into rest and digest, into safety. So the opposite of fear is safety. So we're trying to find a feeling of safety, and then we won't be fearful, to teach our bodies and to show our bodies and our heads and our brains that we are safe. So there is no need to be sending these fearful signals. So coherence breathing, the inhale for 6, exhale for 6 is great for sort of fearful. The humming. And then the other thing I do, if you're really fearful, you'll notice, like I said, like this sort of frozen, which is one of our stress or protection responses, is freeze. And the other thing is you can get a fight or flight response, which is where our bodies release a lot of hormones ready for us to take action to protect us from the danger. So with the fight or flight, we have an over stimulation of energy, and this can result in the shaking, the fast heart rate, and we need to release that energy that the body has created through the release of hormones. And we can do that in several ways. Anything that uses energy, basically. So exercise is a great one, and I exercise every day in the morning. So I need to make sure that becomes one of my non-negotiable pillars. I do my exercise because I know that's going to really help. The other thing I do is a technique called tension or trauma releasing exercises, which basically allows this shaking, natural shaking response to happen. You lay on the floor. I'll put a link to videos that you can go to actually see how this works. You basically lay on the floor, you stimulate this natural shimmering or tremoring response, and this allows the release of the hormones from the body naturally, and the energy that the body's created naturally through this sort of shaking and tremoring. So I'll put a link to that if anyone wants to try that in safety. If you've not done it before and you have maybe like a background of experiencing trauma, I would recommend that you get some help when you first do that exercise with someone that's qualified in doing it. And if you're interested to learn more about that, then contact me, DM me directly, and I can help you through like the first experiences of that to make sure we do that in safety. So hopefully that really helps people. I will post more about this journey as I find out more